Sorry. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam.
wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Honorable to Professor Dr. Syafrizal as the lecturer of Seminar on English Language Teaching course. And thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that give us opportunity to join this meeting today. In this opportunity, we will make a presentation about our paper that we make to complete our midterm test. In today's presentation, there are 5 members that will make a presentation. There are Bayu Heri Permana, and then Salzha Terenovix, and Eka Wahyu Setyawan, and Haidar Baghiz. And the last is Fitra, Aulia, Rivani. Okay, for the first presenter, Bayu Heri Permana, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Eka. So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The Honorable Professor Dr. Syafrizal, M.Pd. Here I am going to present my paper about engaging students extensive reading activity using Read Asia in EFL classroom. So teaching English in Indonesia, especially reading, has been focused on how students can finish their assignments, or it has prepared to face the student final exam that expected have good results. This phenomenon affects those who do not understand what students read correctly because from the beginning, they read only to accomplish the task given, not trying to understand what books they are pleased with to read. Without built-in early their habit to read, they could face the struggle to like this reading habit again, and can be ensured that affects their future badly. Thus, perhaps extensive reading is an excellent way to help the learners to read. And as a reading resource, Let's Read Asia have all the potential to resolve the lack of reading material and extensive reading activities. Therefore, the extensive reading approaches is not just read and then finish the task that has given, but on how the learners can enjoy their reading activities selected by themselves. This study would do the best to try an extensive reading approach, especially to motivate the student in learning English. So this will be important to know how the process of extensive reading activity through Let's Read Asia in EFL classroom, and investigate the responses and opinions of the students about extensive reading activities through Let's Read Asia. So first, the question of the problem. In order to know whether students' extensive reading activity is engaging or not using the digital book of Let's Read in our classroom, the following particular study topics were taken into consideration. The first What are the students' responses on using Let's Read Asia in their extensive reading activity? The second one is, what are the students' opinions on using Let's Read Asia in their extensive reading activity? The third, how does Let's Read Asia influence students' motivation and engagement in extensive reading activities in NFL classroom? So that is the question of the problem of my study. And my research methodology include research design, research participants, research instruments, and research participants. So in the research design, I'm using a qualitative research approach with a descriptive qualitative study. And then the research participant is the sixth semester of the English department of Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University that have experienced the use of Let's Asia during their extensive reading class. And the research instruments of my study are questionnaire and in-depth interview. So here is the literature review of my study. It began with extensive reading. It can lead to significant improvements in reading comprehension, with learners showing greater gains in both literal and inferential comprehension than those who did not engage in extensive reading activities, according to Chang and Yi. And the second one is about teaching extended reading. There is a need for teachers to carefully select reading materials that are relevant and interesting to learners, and to provide support and guidance as needed, according to Day and Bamford. And the last one is about Let's Read Asia. It is an effective way to promote reading skills and literacy among students in Asia. It is also an access to high quality materials that align with the best practice in promoting literacy and education, according to Lai and Alba. So here is the result of my study. There are 5 results that can I conclude about my research. So it discussed the answer by the participant, by students' responses. So the result of my research are sought in several main themes relevant to students' responses and opinion through Let's Asia in learning to read of extensive reading, and the requirement of students' engagement in an extensive reading activity, such as the first one is incorporate engaging and enjoyable ways to learn, and autonomous self-selected reading. And the second one is motivate. So let's reach it. Asia motivate to engage by interactive features and multimedia elements with its user-friendly. And the third one is boost. Let's read Asia boost vocabulary learning of its students. And the fourth one is about assessing and improving students' reading comprehension. And the last one is habituate. So us let's read Asia are proven to build students' awareness and habituate them to read. So that is my result of my research that Let's Read Asia are proven to be engaging and motivating students in learning extensive reading activity in EFL classroom. Now the discussion. So overall, the questionnaire results demonstrate the importance of Let's Read Asia as a tool for motivating and engaging students extensive reading activities in an EFL classroom. So by providing interactive, engaging, and personalized materials that cater to different levels of reading ability and interest, the platform helps and builds students' motivation and confidence in reading. It's also improved their vocabulary acquisition and comprehension skills. Thus, it's also established a lifelong habit of reading for personal and professional development. So the conclusion based on the research result, the researcher conclude that the teacher using extensive reading practice mediated by Let's Read Asia can definitely engage students. It can conclude that extensive reading practice through Let's Read Asia has a positive response to the student in an EFL classroom. So that's for me. That's all my research. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Bayu, for the presentation. For the second presenter is Salzha Terenovix. Time is yours.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Salzha Terenovix, and I would like to present my article for the seminar on English language teaching course entitled EFL Students' Perceptions of Learning English Through Trace Effects as DGBL. For the introduction, there are background of the study, questions of the problem, and then objectives of the study. Background of the study. The advancement of technology in this era of globalization can provide benefits to various fields in life, including education. In the education context, technology plays a role as a facilitator of digital learning media, such as digital games. The implementation of games as the main learning media is referred to as a DGBL, or digital game-based learning. In the English language learning context, one of the digital games that can be applied in the implementation of DGBL is Trace Effects. Trace Effects is an immersive game released by the US Department of State to help students learn English in a digital game environment. Thus, Trace Effects has the potential to engage students in English language learning. And then the next is questions of the problem. There are two questions. The first question is, What are the students' perceptions of learning English through trace effects as the GBL in terms of benefits perceived and challenges faced by students? And then the second question is, do students think it is suitable to learn English by using trace effects as the GBL? The next is the objectives of the study. The first is to find out the students' perceptions of learning English through trace effects as the GBL in terms of benefits perceived and challenges faced by them. And then to find out the suitability of learning English by using trace effects as the GBL. And then these are some of the literature reviews that I use for this study. The first is EFL students. It is defined as the study of English by individuals who live in areas where English is not the first language. And then TEFL, it entails teaching English to individuals whose native language is not English and who reside in nations where English is not the dominant language. The next is perception. It is defined as an individual process in understanding contact or relationship with the world around them. The next is learning media. It is a teaching aid that supports the use of teaching methods employed by teachers. And then there is digital games. Digital games are interactive systems that have rules, goals, and feedback, and that provide an experience of a world or situation that is different for our own. And then the GBL or digital game-based learning. It is a learning method that employs digital game technology, which has a cognitive learning element in it, as a learning media, and then trace effects. Trace effects is an immersive game released by the U.S. Department of State to help students learn English in a digital game environment. And then there are some of the previous studies. A true experimental quantitative study conducted by Pangestu investigated the influence of trace effects on students' listening skills. The sample of the study was the 11th grade students of Al Mubarak Senior High School. The result of the study showed that trace effects can significantly influence students' listening skill. And another study conducted by Haidar and Wali used a mixed method approach to investigate the practical effects of playing trace effects on improving university students' linguistic competence. The sample of the study was the second year of EFL students at the Salahuddin Erbil University. The results showed that playing trace effects was effective in improving students' language learning, particularly in creating an engaging atmosphere, improving technological skills, increasing learning motivation, promoting self-independent learning, and understanding American culture through a virtual reality environment. And then Acero and Gabriela also conducted a quantitative study to investigate the effectiveness of trace effects as a didactic tool for vocabulary mastery in an EFL classroom. The sample of this study was the 11th grade of San Jose de Calasan Senior High School. The result of the study showed that trace effects significantly improved the students' vocabulary mastery. In conclusion, the use of trace effects in EFL classrooms has been investigated through various studies which have demonstrated its effectiveness in improving language learning skills such as listening, vocabulary, and linguistic competence. These studies suggest that trace effects can create an engaging and interactive environment for language learning, enhance technological skills, increase motivation, and promote self-independent learning. Through the use of virtual reality and interactive gaming elements, trace effects can also help students gain a better understanding of American culture. As such, trace effects can be a valuable tool for EFL teachers seeking to engage and motivate their students while improving their language learning outcomes. And then the next is methodology. The first is research design. This study uses qualitative research with a descriptive method, and then there are 20 students from the 6th semester in Sultan Ageng Tirtayasa University enrolled for the study. And then the research instrument is questionnaire with 10 open-ended questions. The data analysis technique for the study is using thematic analysis. The procedures of thematic analysis used in this study include collecting that data through a questionnaire via Google form, and then identifying the result of the questionnaire, and then organizing the result into specific themes for further elaboration. And then the last is interpreting the data. And then we move to results and discussion of the study. The first is in terms of the benefits of class effects perceived by students. So the students found that class effects is enjoyable, fun, and engaging. The result of the questionnaire indicated that all participants agreed that they obtained a positive learning English language learning experience through trace effects. They highlight the fact that they are able to learn English by playing. Furthermore, participants also highlighted the use of trace effects as a cultural learning tool. It allows players to get exposure to American culture, as this game is also made for students to learn American culture. Next is motivating students to learn English. All participants agreed that trace effects played a role in students' English learning motivation in various areas, as motivation plays a crucial role in students' learning. And then the next is boosting confidence in using English. Most of the participants stated that they felt confident after they used trace effects for learning English, particularly in the areas of vocabulary mastery and listening skills. So it can be said that trace effects is able to improve the students' confidence in using English. And then the last is improving English language skills. All participants felt trace effects can effectively improve their English skills, specifically in reading and listening skills. Trace effects also can improve students' critical thinking skills. This happens because students should think critically in solving the missions and understanding the instructions. Thus, it can be concluded that all students recognize the improvement of specific English skills through playing trace effects. They noted that the game helped them in improving their reading, listening, and critical thinking skills. And then in terms of challenges faced by students, students found that trace effects has instructions and they confidently face challenges relating to understanding instructions, controlling the character to move around the maps, and finding people or places in the game. They were able to overcome these challenges by repeating the instructions, asking for help from a friend, and then slowly learning how to operate the game efficiently. These challenges may have initially caused confusions and frustrations, but the participants were persistent in finding solutions to finish the game. This showed that while trace effects may have some learning curves, the participants were able to adapt and improve their skills through trial and error. The next is challenging vocabularies. The result of the questionnaire indicated that the participant was able to expand their vocabulary knowledge by actively seeking out the meaning of hard vocabulary. This demonstrates a positive learning attitude and a willingness to invest effort in understanding and expanding their vocabulary mastery. This can be a valuable strategy for students as it helps them to become more confident in their abilities to understand and use their vocabularies. And the last is time consuming. This showed that the participant believed that the effort was worth it as completing the mission, and the learning experience gained from it was remarkable. Stress effects may be challenging but also rewarding as it encourages students to think critically and persistent in their learning journey. Additionally, the participant mentioned the willingness to complete all tasks and the mission to reach the highest possible point, indicating that they were motivated to achieve a higher score in the game. And then the last is the suitability of stress effects as the GBL. The results showed that all participants agreed that stress effects is a suitable and effective media for English language learning as the GBL and recommended its use, that it is a fun and engaging way to learn English. The responses also suggested that trace effects has positive feedback for students and is regarded as a useful and enjoyable way to learn the language. Overall, their responses indicated that trace effects is a valuable and suitable media for English language learning as the GPL. So in conclusion, the result of the study suggested that students had positive feedback on the use of trace effects as the GPL for English language learning. Despite its drawbacks, students perceived trace effects as an enjoyable and motivating game that helped boost their confidence in improving their language skills. So all students agreed that the use of trace effects can be a valuable tool for learning English, and they recommended the use of the game in the classroom. I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you, Tere, for the presentation. Sorry, because there is a time. I want to say sorry for the inconvenience. Okay, maybe I will restart the Zoom meeting.